King Charles's reign might be coming to an end sooner than we all expected. It is unfortunate that the king had to wait for more than 70 years to step into the throne, and now he doesn't get to enjoy it. After about a year as monarch, he can barely carry out his duties across the UK, and how he lives is quite sad. Is it age, illness, or the stress from the position he occupies? Let us uncover the real reason behind the king's current lifestyle.
Buckingham Palace has just released a statement about the health of the king. It says this: during the king's recent hospital procedure for benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted. Subsequent diagnostic tests have identified a form of cancer. His Majesty has today commenced a schedule of regular treatments, during which time he has been advised by doctors to postpone public-facing duties. Throughout this period, His Majesty will continue to undertake state business and official paperwork as usual. The King is grateful to his medical team for their swift intervention, which was made possible thanks to his recent hospital procedure. He remains wholly positive about his treatment and looks forward to returning to full public duty as soon as possible. His Majesty has chosen to share his diagnosis to prevent speculation and in the hope it may assist public understanding for all those around the world who are affected by cancer. The palace also released this new image of His Majesty to coincide with the statement.
Sir Keir Starmer, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty. You must be utterly exhausted and ill on your knees, but not much rather grueling. By the second, yes. You're here. Yes. It's a very sort of quick changeover as well,
to say the least. And having to get to grips with everything straight away must be quite exhausting.
Your Highness's visit comes at another moment of great global change. We are living through significant turbulence, the climate emergency and the white heat of a scientific and technological revolution. Just as our parents served and worked so hard to confront the challenges of their ages, so too must we. And at such times of uncertainty and upheaval, old friendships assume even greater importance. If I may, I would particularly like to express the United Kingdom's deepest gratitude for your tireless mediation efforts over the past year in pursuit of peace in the face of unbearable heartache and suffering. In these most desperate of circumstances, Qatar's continued toil, perseverance, and diplomatic efforts are quite simply beyond compare. These are duties that we all share. As the Quran says, whoever saves a life, it will be as if they saved all of humanity. And as the Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. We stand with you in our commitment to a world where peace and justice prevail over division. So as we work together to address the immediate and urgent issues of the day, I take some comfort in the knowledge that our governments are also collaborating to tackle the most pressing shared threats to humanity of climate change and biodiversity loss. On clean energy, our joint initiatives are paving the way for a much less polluted future, one where economic growth and environmental stewardship go hand in hand. I am greatly encouraged to know that we are embarking on a partnership that will, over the next 20 years, place our nations jointly at the forefront of clean energy technology development.
In February 2024, King Charles was diagnosed with cancer and started treatment soon after. While he stepped back from public events for a while, he still handled his duties as head of state, working on official documents and holding private meetings. The king continued his weekly meetings with the Prime Minister.
The Commonwealth mattered a great deal to my dear mother, the late Queen. Her commitment to you all, as that of my grandfather, King George VI, before her, is one which has helped to shape my own life for as long as I can remember. Since my first visit to Malta, aged just 5, in 1954, I have traveled to almost every corner of the Commonwealth. I have met remarkable people in every conceivable walk of life and learned a great deal from so many proud cultures and traditions. All of this has given me an unshakable faith in the special nature of our Commonwealth and the extraordinary value it holds. This is a family, or Ainga, as our Samoan hosts would say, of countries, of organizations, and of people. All nations are equal in this unique and voluntary association. This year, as you all know, is the 75th anniversary of the Commonwealth, and incidentally, shortly to be my 76th. And throughout that time, we have committed ourselves to developing free and democratic societies and promoting peace and prosperity for all. This endeavor underpins how we understand and tackle contemporary and emerging challenges, rooted in our shared belief in the rule of law and an international order where every nation has a voice. Together, we represent a third of humanity, with all the splendidly diverse complexity that this entails.
He's not a man, as Nick Owen said earlier on today, who just sits around in his pipe and slippers. He is a very hard-working man, and he gets up very early and goes to bed very late at night. And I'm sure that Camilla has been making sure that he has been resting as much as possible. But I suspect he is the driving force about getting back to work. He is loath not having to do the things that, you know, a king should do. But I think his doctors, I think he is listening to his doctors. I hope he's listening to his doctors. And I'm sure that they are giving him the right advice. And they will look at each individual event that crops up and will say to him, we think you could do this, and maybe just take this one easy. It'll depend on that advice.
It might be the case of one thing at a time. Charles, what does this mean for the wider family as well? Because we know with the slimmed down monarchy that this has been a very challenging time for the family, especially for Prince William, who obviously has his own thing to deal with, doesn't he, with his wife also battling with cancer. What do you think this means for Prince William and also Queen Camilla, who's really had to step up to the plate? Well, it'll be a slight relief because the king will be able to do some of the duties that they had been taking on. And so it's great that he's back. And more importantly, I think we'll be waiting as well with bated breath, really, in the hope that we hear some great news about the Princess of Wales and her battle. But I think, you know, the family is coming back together again. They will cope quite amazingly, as they have done, and they will continue to do so. I mean, the fact that they're slimmed down is a natural thing that's happened. You know, you've got Harry and Montecito, you've got Andrew clearly, who can't do anything else. But people like the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh have stepped up to the plate and helped out. Obviously, Princess Anne, the royal workhorse, she's been doing all the stuff that she normally does and a bit more. So yeah, no, they're in fine fettle.
In terms of public reaction to this and the public support there's been, whilst we've known he's been ill, what does that do for him? Does he really take that on board?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's had thousands of get well soon cards, and he's been reading most of them and looking at them. And we know he's taken a tremendous, fillip that these people have taken the time and trouble to send, actual cards, to go on Twitter, to go on the social media and wish him all the best. And I think that is one of the great things that has helped his recovery. And the other thing as well, you've got to remember as well, the fact that he has produced this news, this great news, gives hope to so many other cancer sufferers as well.
Very much so, to the core, actually.
Yeah.
Because it is unique and it's wonderful and it gives so much help to people. It's a sort of tangent to your own family.
Yeah.
You see people when they're little, when they grow up, when they get married, when they become ill, when they, it's all in a sort of family situation, and I think it does us all a lot of good, and we enjoy it. I think it's very important, actually.
The royal family are our family, and that's why we take this news very personally.
Yes, absolutely it is. And you want to go and see it when there's the special days, and you want to actually be part of it.
What about King Charles and what he's going through at the moment? It's so easy to forget that he's fighting his own cancer battle. You've written at length about the family and about Charles. Do you feel that he is physically and mentally equipped for what he's going through at the moment?
I think he's a very determined man. He's wanted to be king for a very, very long time. I mean, to wait till you're 73 is a long time, actually, to take the crown. I think, obviously, at his age, it's very difficult, but he's very determined, and he's only really just started to be king, and he wants to move on. And supporting him very much, absolutely by his side, is Queen Camilla, who is going to all the engagements that they would have gone to together on her own, except the ones that would have been especially his. And so that way he will feel it's still moving, it's still running, and they can discuss it and talk about it. And I think that's marvellous. I mean, she is holding the royal family up and being strong. If you imagine that, 30 years ago, people were saying what would happen to her, that the whole royal family would absolutely disintegrate and she would be of no use, and you couldn't even look at her because she's not been a virgin when she married the king, the then prince.
Yeah.
And I think, well, there we are. You really never know what people are going to do, but she's a wonderful woman and she's just doing it very quietly. She told me that she doesn't like being in the spotlight. She's not in the spotlight, but she's there and she's very accessible and she makes people laugh and she's very caring, and she's chosen charities as well that are that the royal family wouldn't have chosen, like domestic violence and rape and all those things, which actually expand what they can do and which she can really have a strong power in.
And Charles, as the head of the family, needs his wife more than ever, not just for the important public role that she's playing, but to support him, to support her husband.
She understands him very well because they've been together for over 50 years.
His first big public appearance after his diagnosis was on Easter Sunday 2024, when he and the Queen greeted crowds after a church service in Windsor. By the end of April, he was back to public duties, visiting a cancer treatment center with Queen Camilla. He also made a surprise stop at an army barracks in Hampshire, joking that he had been let out of his cage.
And we're all talking about Prince Harry and the King in this meeting yesterday. And then the main point of concern for most people, Sarah, is why would it have been so short?
It would have been so short because it was a flying visit, and the king
Literally.
is now undergoing treatment for cancer. So he started his treatment yesterday. He was very, very tired. And these things as well are planned in advance, and Harry just made this spontaneous visit, really, with not much preparation. So the king couldn't really give him very much time at all. He has to stick to a strict schedule. He's got staff working for him. Harry's coming in for a team. Harry was also a little bit late in as well from the airport, so it also cut Charles's time with him. And Charles is a stickler for timekeeping.
But Sarah,
if you're late, that's it.
Don't forget that his son is still estranged, effectively. I mean, he's insulted his wife.
That's right.
He's, through Omid Scobie, not denied that the king was allegedly a racist in some way. Can he trust his son? Surely he just wanted a short meeting, because any longer time was a risk.
Well, this was obviously the first meeting that the two men had had, and I was told it was emotional, but it was strained as well in parts. And Charles was obviously pleased, delighted that Harry had made the effort to come, but there's a long way to go until we see the closeness between them. But Charles does love his son. He's like any parent, you know, parents love their children no matter what they push them through. Blood is thicker than water. So I think there will be a truce of sorts, but Charles is still listening, you know, thinking, can I fully trust him yet?
But credit to Harry, the fact that he did make the trip.
And that's what I was so delighted to see, that Harry realised what's important at times like this. And when someone's going through cancer and this sort of crisis, it brings families together, doesn't it? As I said, blood's thicker than water. And if you're going through cancer treatment, anyone watching who've had a parent or a friend or family with cancer, your family and friends is what you need around you at a time like this. So Harry's realised he needs to be with his dad. And he's also a very, very sensitive boy underneath everything. And I know he's pushed his father to the limits, and his brother as well, but I think deep down he's quite lost, and the thought of something happening to his darling Popper is
the trauma of losing a mum. If your remaining parent is suddenly ill, it's scary. But why didn't he bring his kids then, the grandchildren? That would have been lovely for the king to see little Lilibet. He's barely had 5 minutes with her in her entire life. You know that Charles loves children. He loves George and Charlotte and Louis so much. That would have been lovely, wouldn't it?
Agreed, Isabella, it would have been, it really would. But in this instance, again, it comes down to practicalities and being able to get on a plane, 2 young children on board as well.
Nannies, they can manage.
I think on this one, Meghan felt in this instance Harry needed that time with his father alone, and I actually agreed with her there.
He certainly didn't need mummy there.
You know? Is that what you're calling Meghan these days? She's the gatekeeper, though, isn't she, Eamon?
The gatekeeper.
She's the puppet master. She controls the strings.
Right.
She also knows the family silver. You know, it's a case of protecting it. Get over there, Harry, and see your dad.
What about William? So we've got, you know, a rapprochement with the father. Great, it's good to see. The brothers still separated, but also brother's wife unwell and going through a lot of recuperation as well. Do you think there'll be enough there to make him stretch out his hand?
I've been told that Harry was really desperate to have a reunion with William, and the door is open for Harry to do that. He's realised now the error of his ways, and obviously with his father being ill, I think he wants his brother back in his life. But William is not as forgiving, shall we say. Right. He doesn't let things go as easy, and there's a lot of work to be done there. And
you see, I could see Harry back.
By your wonderfully kind and thoughtful good wishes for my health, and in return can only continue to serve you to the best of my ability throughout the Commonwealth. My belief in our shared endeavours and in the potential of our people remains as sure and strong as it has ever been. I have no doubt that we will continue to support one another across the Commonwealth as together we continue this vital journey. Ladies and gentlemen, it is for me a great sadness that I cannot be with you all today. The Maundy service has a very special place in my heart. It has its origin in the life of our Lord, who knelt before his disciples and, to their great surprise, washed their travel-weary feet. And as we have just heard, in doing so, he deliberately gave to them and to us all an example of how we should serve and care for each other. In this country, we are blessed by all the different services that exist for our welfare. But over and above these organisations and their selfless staff, we need and benefit greatly from those who extend the hand of friendship to us, especially in a time of need. The 150 men and women who've been chosen today to receive the Maundy money from my wife.
The king is far from the 167-room castle, reportedly sleeping a lot, and it's becoming clear that he is unwell. According to a well-connected source, things can change quickly with cancer.
We've always underestimated her, really. When she was a girlfriend of Prince William for 8 years, we used to call her Waity Katie, and that she didn't do anything and she didn't get a job and she was just hanging around and very, very lazy. What we didn't know was that she was studying it very carefully, and she and William wanted to make sure that she could manage. We've seen that Meghan couldn't cope at all, and it's not easy, it's difficult. There's lots of advantages but some disadvantages by the score, really. And she studied various charities, what she wanted to do, how she could do it, and then she would just follow him meekly. And that makes sense because she didn't want to push forward ahead and go and shake everyone's hand and say women's first. She just would doing her duty and trying to support a husband who she loved from the start, really. And women go through different phases, as we all know. You know, you get married, it makes a big difference to you. You have pregnancy. She's had 3 very, very difficult pregnancies when she's been very, very sick. And also your body changes, and I think she's cautious. She doesn't try and do so many things at once, and now she's got a lovely family. They're all going to school, and she gets on very, very well with William, who I think owes her a great deal because of her stability and positive attitude to life, and because he knows she really cares about him. He has become a very satisfied father and a very, very satisfied husband. And we've seen the difference, that he's now much more confident himself. And they laugh together, they play sport together. So here we have a woman nearly 40 whose goodness inside is showing outside on her face and the way she moves. And I think it's a terrific role model for many women, actually, that you don't have to rush, you don't have to push forward, you don't have to be the hare in the tortoise fable. You can take it in your stride and grow more beautiful, more accomplished. What I find awful is that a lot of people have said that she is copying Meghan and that's why she's looking better. I think it's extremely patronising, and that the only thing she would be really keen about Meghan is that she's no longer part of the working royals, and she can be herself. I think we're hearing more and more how difficult Meghan was, and Kate can now relax and be herself with William, who is also relaxed.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well, and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support, and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
The king is actually a very private person, so he must have really felt very strongly that he wanted the palace to make this announcement because of, I suppose, the success, you could say, it's probably not a very good word, of talking about his prostate operation. And a lot of people went to get their prostates checked. So he probably feels that being completely open like this is the best way to go. And also, he's king, he's head of state. It is in the public interest. So he really, poor man, has no private life. And this is very much an illustration of that.
Ingrid, he's cancelled a lot of events, functions, so there would have been enormous speculation about his health, bearing in mind his recent trip to the hospital over his prostate. So he had no choice, did he, but to confirm he's having treatment for cancer? And isn't it now only a matter of time, Ingrid, before they tell us exactly what cancer he's got? Because the speculation will be lurid. It already is, in fact.
Yes, I know. The one thing they asked for is, he said, to stop speculation. But of course, you can't stop speculation about a public figure like Charles. You know, he's our king. And you can't stop speculation. And I quite agree with you. I think it is only a matter of time.
According to a source, the king is sleeping a lot, which makes sense. For the past 7 months, the 75-year-old has been undergoing treatment for an unspecified type of cancer.
And a lot of people went to get their prostates checked. So he probably feels that being completely open like this is the best way to go. And also, he's king, he's head of state. It is in the public interest. So he really, poor man, has no private life. And this is very much an illustration of that.
Ingrid, he's cancelled a lot of events, functions, so there would have been enormous speculation about his health, bearing in mind his recent trip to the hospital over his prostate. So he had no choice, did he, but to confirm he's having treatment for cancer? And isn't it now only a matter of time, Ingrid, before they tell us exactly what cancer he's got? Because the speculation will be lurid. It already is, in fact.
Yes, I know. The one thing they asked for is, he said, to stop speculation. But of course, you can't stop speculation about a public figure like Charles. You know, he's our king. And you can't stop speculation. And I quite agree with you. I think it is only a matter of time before we understand what kind of cancer he's got. But I think he'll be probably be towards the end of the treatment. I don't think we'll get it like today or tomorrow. I think it'll be, there'll be a little while before we get it, but I'm sure we will.
It's remarkable, isn't it, Ingrid, because he's been the longest Prince of Wales in the history of the royal family. He's had an incredible apprenticeship, and he's had a pretty good start, hasn't he, in 18 months. He's done a couple of state visits and lots of royal engagements. It will be immensely frustrating for him now that he does have to step back.
It certainly will be frustrating, but of course, being him, as we know, because Queen Camilla has told us, and we know that he is a workaholic, but he's going to have to take care of his health because he wants to make a full recovery, which, we believe he can do. So he will be frustrated, but he will just be working as he always does. But hopefully he won't be working into the small hours of the morning like he used to do.
Ingrid, as far as we understand, Prince Harry is on his way to the UK. What's your reaction to that turn of events?
My immediate reaction is, how unhelpful is that? That's not very kind of me. No, I just thought we really don't need somebody coming into this mix at these slightly tense moment that it is going to cause more problems than they can solve. But of course Harry wants to see his father, and he hasn't fallen out with his father, despite what he said about the Queen. Charles has remained very calm about it, but the royal family don't like confronting these emotional issues, and I think Harry will come over here. He will be, he'll be perfectly nice to everyone. Everyone will be perfectly nice to him, and then they'll just hope that he goes back pretty soon.
How very British.
Yeah, and also there'll be a lot of speculation, Ingrid, of course, about whether he...
As time has gone on, as Brexit has gotten further away, they've had these mega deals, but the only thing that actually sells is their connection to the royals. So if you cut that off, Harry and Meghan really have to prove themselves on their own merits. And as it turns out, they can't do it. They don't have either the talent, the creativity, or whatever to come to bear in this situation and actually create decent content. And so if the royal family stars them of the only thing that's going to make them money, then I don't know what they're going to do, because trying to be royals here in the United States is not going over very well. So we don't want them to be royals here. They can live here, but they can't be royalty here. And Harry and Meghan don't seem to quite get that yet, although it might be sinking in with the new administration. But this has been just an absolutely epic disaster for Harry and Meghan. And you got to think, especially Harry, he's lost his relationship with his entire family basically at this point. So, but it's all of his own doing. So he has nobody to blame in this situation but himself, and I would argue probably his wife as well.
Of course, but how disgusting that at a time when he should be there for his dad, right? His dad is suffering from very serious cancer, Brittany. Again, all he does is create strife, to the fact that actually Camilla says to Charles, no, just have nothing to do with him because it's not going to be good for your health.
Yeah, I mean, that is really the healthiest approach for him at this point. Harry has had multiple opportunities, I think, to try and make inroads to recognize the failure of his ways. But what I came across, I think it was in the Vanity Fair piece, although it might have been maybe a Daily Beast piece that kind of followed that, was talking about how Harry still doesn't really get it. He doesn't understand the damage that Spare did to his relationship with his family, that Netflix did, that Brexit did, that Oprah did.
Wait, hold on, guys. Don't leave me alone just yet. We've covered King Charles' health struggles and his life lately. It's been quite shocking, right? Some say it was expected. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Don't go anywhere yet, and the story's not over.